The industrial action by teachers will carry on for yet another school day on Tuesday. We'll tell you why they made this decision and when the strike will end. This is the evening news on Love Television, coming to you live from our studios on Slaughterhouse Road in Belize City. Up next, the top stories for today, Friday, October 7th, 2016. The Senate Special Select Committee is stated to meet next week in Balmopan for the start of its investigation into the Auditor General's report. The teachers' strike will continue, but the Roman Catholic Church is calling for a return to the classroom on Tuesday. We'll bring you the BNTU's reaction and also their demand for an apology from the foreign minister. Did the opposition fail in taking the lead for the demand of good governance? We asked the PUP seniors to weigh in. Also in tonight's newscast, how immediate can those 8 demands be addressed? Senator for the private sector weighed in on that decision. And on the financial sector, loan agencies to Belize would like to see more persons taking advantage of project opportunities around the country. Following much debate and back and forth on whether there should be a Senate Special Committee or a bicameral committee, a decision was made to go with the Senate Committee. The committee's first meeting will take place on Wednesday, October 12, according to a release from the National Assembly of Belize. The communique has notified the media that while they are still awaiting a name from the opposition for their representative, the government side will have representation through Dr. Carla Barnett and Aldo Salazar. The churches will be represented by Pastor Ashley Rock, while the private sector by Mark Lizarraga, and the unions and civil society through Elena Smith. The sitting takes place next Wednesday, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Teachers are not backing down, as this evening the national president of the Belize National Teachers Union, Luke Palacio, announced that the teachers' industrial action will continue on Tuesday. The decision to extend the strike up to Tuesday came after the Council of Management of the BNTU met today at its national headquarters in Belize City. The teachers have already been out of class for an entire week, so what made them decide to take it into next week? Well, according to Palacio, they are patiently waiting for Prime Minister Dean Barrow's formal request for a meeting. If they do not receive that request by a telephone call or a letter, then the strike will continue until they do.
Our Council of Management wants to make it known to the media and to the public in general that despite the propaganda being spread that the Prime Minister has invited us to a meeting, to the negotiations table, there has been no such formal request. Not in writing, not via telephone call. We heard that, like all other Belizeans did when he had his video launched on some 2 Sundays ago. We take this opportunity this evening to call on the Prime Minister to set a date, a time, and a venue for a meeting so that that meeting can be held. Because like we've said before and we continuously say, the doors remain open. However, until that meeting is convened and the BNT obtains a level of satisfaction from the responses or the outcomes of such a meeting, our members will remain on strike.
Palacio says they are expecting to hear from the Prime Minister very soon. And while they wait for Barrow's formal invitation, they are demanding that Wilfred Elrington, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, make a public apology to all teachers for the comments he made earlier in the week. In an interview aired on Love News, Elrington said that, quote, "It is not my understanding that they have the remit really to take on all the issues of the country. I don't even know whether they have the wisdom or the ability or the competence to deal with those issues," end of quote. It was that particular statement that infuriated the teachers to the point that Ruth Schumann of the Corozal branch demanded that Elrington apologize for uttering those words.
I think over the days we've seen the bashing of teachers. We have had to face some serious hurdles on the media But the one that really, really has us taken aback is to have Minister Elrington attack us personally. It was shameful. It was a sad moment in history for Minister Elrington to go publicly and state that we lack the wisdom, the ability, and the competence to tackle these issues. It was shameful, and especially knowing that his sister and his wife were once teachers. It speaks volumes of his character. So today, on behalf of all the teachers in this country, we are demanding a public apology, and we will not stop until we get that.
He had teachers who taught him. He had teachers who continue to teach how we are governed in this country. We as teachers ensure that we look at the national good, and I cannot agree with anybody who would try to justify what Minister Elrington said. That is vintage Mr. Elrington. Every time he opens his mouth, the first thing he says, Belizeans don't understand. It seems that he's the only man in this country that has understanding. It seems that the government persons, the elected officials, are the only persons who have understanding in this country.
Further, in his statement, he also made mention that teachers should only be looking at salaries or in the interest of things that affect teachers directly. He is indirectly telling us that we lack the competence to look at anything else other than issues that affect us in the classroom. And we are intelligent people, and internationally, we are respected and we are known for standing up for national issues internationally. And now here comes our minister and insult us by telling us that we should be limited to issues in the classroom. So don't come and try and twist his words around to me.
So far, we have seen several unions and associations coming on board with the BNTU and expressing solidarity. One very important group that the BNTU is hoping to obtain its full support is the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, BCCI. The BNTU wrote to the BCCI requesting that it encourage its members to actively show their support to the teachers. Palacio says that they will know if the BCCI will come on board next week.
Yes, we have written to the chamber because, again, like we have mentioned in the media, on the 30th of September, we met with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, again, to give them our side of the story, if you will, as it relates to what has been going on. And we have agreed that, yes, we will maintain dialogue. So we wrote to them asking them to what type of support they could give that would be a little more visible as opposed to just verbal. And they have invited us to a meeting, a special general meeting that they'll be having next week. At that point, we'll know what type of support they are prepared to lend and how that will play out.
Tuesday will make 6 days that the teachers will be on strike, but for the teachers, strike action does not only mean not going to classes, but being proactive as well. Palacio explained their plans for Tuesday.
On Tuesday, as a part of our strike action, our teachers will be engaged in community service projects as well as a public relations campaign as we make it known that demands that we are making on the government of Belize is for the national good. It is for children yet unborn. It is, as we continue to stand up for Belize, to say to the government, it is time that you listen to the people. We did not elect persons to be rulers. We elected them so that they could govern in a manner that would be beneficial to all our citizens. And that cry continues to go loud and clear. And I'm certain that based on the kind of support we're seeing throughout this country, the country is fully behind the move of the Belize National Teachers Union.
The Roman Catholic Chancery issued a statement yesterday in which they start by stating their support for the demand of good governance. The release echoed the call of Papal Nuncio Archbishop Leon Katenga, continues by asking the teachers on strike and supporting students to get back to the classroom. The Catholic Chancellor states that since the government has shown a desire to renegotiate, the education of young people and children should be the primary concern. The release calls on the teachers to use other means other than strike to pressure the government. Today, after the Council of Management meeting, First Vice President Adelaida Guerra told the media that the BNTU feel disrespected by the papal nuncio.
Talking on behalf of our teachers who are on the Roman Catholic Diocese, it refers to as all of you know, that a press release was sent from the Bishop and the Diocese of Belize, and that press release has been thrown about, and even the call of the Papal Nuncio coming to our country. And so our concern is what we want to say here on behalf of our teachers is that we support what the Bishop said in that letter, in that press release. We know that the Bishop was supporting us, but he was not telling us what he advocated was that parents need to use their discretion as to whether they will send their children to school or not. That is what, and we are thankful to the Bishop. We are very grateful for that press release. And we are concerned because that has been discredited and it has been used in different ways. But we just want to assure, one concern we have is that whenever the Papal Nuncio came, he did not seek audience with the BNTU. And he came, had whatever meetings he had, and no meeting with the BNTU, which we feel was a disrespect to us.
The release also calls on the BNTU, other unions and other social partners to ensure that the reforms demanded are set into law in the coming weeks, and that the fact that the government has agreed to sign on to the United Nations Anti-Corruption Act is a sign of political goodwill. And just coming in, I have an item here. Just before news time tonight, the Office of the Prime Minister sent out a letter in which Prime Minister Dean Barrow makes a formal request for a meeting with the Belize National Teachers Union. The letter is addressed to BNTU's President Luke Palacio, and PM Barrow writes, and we quote, "You have today told the media and the public that I have not formally invited the BNTU back to the negotiating table to discuss the 8 demands contained in your September 12, 2016 letter to me. This, you say, is one of the reasons for continuing with the strike action that has so terribly affected children and parents all over this country. To say the least, I find this to be a fig leaf. I have publicly issued several calls for BNTU to return to negotiations with government, the latest such call being just 2 days ago." End of quote. Barrow points out that after a meeting held on September 22nd, the BNTU wrote to him rejecting GOB's position on almost all the demands. Barrow claims that he was not told that the BNTU was willing to engage in further negotiations. Barrow told Palacio, and we quote, "As a matter of fact, my conviction is that you had decided to strike even before hearing government's position. You came to that meeting with your minds already made up." End of quote. Barrow says that government remains immediately ready to further discuss the good governance agenda, but points out that he has been informed that the National Trade Union Congress of Belize has adopted the position that the good governance agenda is one that it had already taken up. Barrow is suggesting that the agenda be synchronized and further progressed by the NTUCB. In his letter, Barrow tells Palacio that he has asked the NTUCB to fix a date for negotiations to resume. The Prime Minister's letter ends by calling on the BNTU to stop the strike and return to school. One of the questions surfacing throughout the last 5 days is, why did it have to take the BNTU to create such a movement when it would have been more fitting for the political opposition party to be leading the charge? Love News asked the chairman for the People's United Party, Henry Usher, to comment.
We have been leading those charges for a long time, Rene. Those issues that were brought up, the Integrity Commission, the Public Accounts Committee, an independent investigation into the beheading and murder of Pastor Lou, the Senate Select inquiry into the passport scandal. All of these issues are issues that the People's United Party has held on the forefront for many months, for a long time. So we have been here, and we're glad that the teachers have taken up this mantle, and we are here to support the teachers.
Yasser Musa is known to wear many hats, including that of an artist, a teacher, and a businessman. Yesterday, in the Belize City rally of the BNTU, Musa was donned in his green shirt and was among those marching through the principal streets. He spoke with Love News on the entire strike action. We started off by asking him to weigh in on the remarks of the Catholic's papal nuncio, but he says he wasn't paying that any attention.
I wasn't paying attention to what he was saying. What I'm paying attention to is the people power and the power of the teachers to bring the government to task. They have been for years agitating in a very peaceful, organized, deliberate manner, and today is only one more example of that peaceful, organized, deliberate, civil disobedience manner that we should all admire, respect, and hold up as one of the greatest inspirations to the children of Belize. Why? Because the children are seeing clearly what their teachers are standing up for. They're standing up for a better society.
And Musa went on to say that he applauds the efforts of the teachers and believes that their strategy is being effective.
Whatever the strategy, so far their strategy has worked in my view, because they have elevated the consciousness of a nation. This would not have been successful without the full support of parents. The point I'm making is that the parents are in full support of this action. They know, because they feel, and many of the teachers are parents themselves, but the wider parent population, they know the dedication of teachers and they know the commitment of teachers to their children. So this is for them something that is nothing of a major sacrifice. It is something that they show solidarity with the union. So the strategy of the union, to me, so far has been outstanding, and we will continue to support that strategy.
Senator Mark Lizarraga was a part of the rally in Belize City. We did get an opportunity to interview him on several issues, including the possibility for the Barrow administration to immediately meet the demands being put forth by the BNTU.
I believe that many of them can be quickly addressed. I believe that, for example, the 13th Senator could come into effect tomorrow. I think some irrevocable commitment to UNCAC can be put into place. I understand that the committee with the business community and the government has outlined a roadmap, and this roadmap perhaps will take time to put into place, granted. But I believe that there is some other commitment that could be easily signed on to give the teachers the reassurance. I believe the recomposition of the Public Accounts Committee is something that could be done today. So there are things that could be done today to get the kids back into school.
Also agreeing with the senator was Yasser Musa of St. John's College.
What is it that you want? There are 8 demands. Obviously, those 8 demands cannot be given immediately. So your view in terms of this prolonged...
I agree with your question, and I hope the question is recorded. The demands cannot be given immediately because they should have been given years ago. The process has been careful in terms of what the teachers have been doing, and so those 8 demands, and I will take an idea from Sandra Cowie, who said yesterday on the WB, those demands are conservative demands. Our society has to go much further than that, but those demands were being called for by the said Prime Minister almost a decade ago when he was the leader of the opposition. So these demands are almost a decade old, they are conservative, and they should have been dealt with long ago. But yes, immediately sounds like the right time.
Good governance are the key words being circulated around the country of late as the BNTU continues its industrial strike demanding just that. But 11 years ago, it was the very same request being made to the Musa administration, and the teachers also abandoned the classrooms and went on strike for more than 10 days. It seems to be a never-ending cycle regardless of which political party comes into government, and it is a cycle that Pupis Cordell Hyde says needs to end.
Nothing changes when government changes, except the people who feed. And those are the people who will act crazy when there's opposition to what they're doing. That happened in our time, and we did some of the same things in pushing back. But that's not right. We have to stop that. The people marched in 2005 so that we don't reach this point now. And now they have to march again. And my sense is this. My sense is that it's not about stopping this present state of corruption. It's about ensuring that we never ever get here again. That we don't end up have to go through this 5 or 10 years from now. That we have to get it right. We have to get it right. We cannot continue like this. Every time a government comes in, it's a gravy train. A handful of people eat, and the vast majority of people remain poor or get poorer. You know what the CDB and the IDB and the World Bank are saying? That there's more poor people today than when the UDP took over 8 years ago, That's not me saying that. That's a multilateral saying that. And that's real, even though the government had all this money at their disposal. But they did nothing other than trying to secure their victory. And they made the same mistake the PUP made. They invested that money in infrastructure. They invested that money in themselves rather than investing that money in things that would bring a return, in things that would help them to pay back the loan. It's all infrastructure. How much of that money was invested in scholarships for young people? How much of that money was invested in medicine for people who need help with medicine? How much of that money was invested in helping the small farmers, in helping people who need houses? How much of that money was spent in infrastructure? You know why? Because it's much easier to thief off infrastructure spending than it is to thief off those kinds of programs. That's why.
With the teachers continuing their industrial strike for 5 consecutive days now, there are some parents and pockets of society who have become concerned over the children being out of school. The 5 days being lost in the classroom can have an impact on the students, particularly those preparing to sit the primary school examination in about 5 months. The area representative for the Lake Independence area in Belize City, Cordell Hyde, spoke to Love News on the concerns of some parents and sends a message to them regarding the ongoing strike action by teachers.
What is clear over the last month and change is that people understand that you are not going to get the right thing, you are not going to get the government to do the right thing if you are not prepared to agitate, if you are not prepared to protest, if you are not prepared to go as far as we've been going. Because power concedes nothing without a demand, It didn't happen in our time and it's not happening now. You have to be prepared to go the extra mile. People say, what about the children? This is about the children. The teachers are striking because of the children. The children are not striking in spite of the children. The teachers are striking because it's about the next generation. I tell you this. I read somewhere that we didn't inherit this land from our forebears. We borrowed this land from our children. If you really think about it, that's a profound statement because it means it's not about us. It's about our children. It means about bequeathing a better belief to our children. And everybody can see that this belief that we are bequeathing to our children is morally and financially bankrupt. It's a belief where it is more important who you know than what you know. It's more in this belief, getting a good quality education is still a domain of a few. In this belief, where you live determines how you live. We have to do more. We have to do better. This is a sacrifice, but there's no greater educational experience than this that our kids are experiencing right now, because they are understanding that you have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to back up your convictions with action. We have to do this. We have to do this. It's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain, but it's all about our children, your children, and our children's children.
Tomorrow, the Belize national football team is set to play the Honduran national team. To combat the Honduran team, the Belizean Federation brought in the Major League Soccer player Michael Salazar. Salazar was raised in Belize and plays for the U.S. Montreal Impact. He tells us how he feels to be back in Belize.
I've been looking forward to this moment since Tuesday, so I finally get the opportunity to come back. I'm finally here and I'm going to train later and see how I feel after a long flight. So it's great. Today, I'm going to meet with the coaching staff. Hopefully, they're going to give me some information, on what we need to do as a team, and we'll go from there. I'm home. I'm ready to give everything for this country. I was raised here. I was born in America, but I was raised in Belize. My mom, dad, all my family is from here. So, this is the roots. This is where it all started for me, and I'm come here to give back everything.
Michael shared some of his journey with us on getting selected for the Montreal Impact and about future plans to coach upcoming footballers in Belize.
It's been a dream of mine, for sure, growing up as a little kid, especially living here in Belize. I always wanted to go to school, get an education, because it's important to have an education and something to fall back on. And, just learning, during my 4 years in college, and, the process leading up to, all the scouting, watching you at, the MLS, the Major League Soccer in the United States. It's a lot of hard work, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it. It's a lot of sacrifice. And, that's the main thing, that I put in all the work that I could since I was a little kid growing up, and it got me to this point. So I'm happy to be, there and coming back to represent my country. The goal is to go and learn as much as you can. And then when you come back, you give back to, the kids who was like me growing up. And I think that's the most important thing. So I'm always willing to help, and learn during the process as well. So at the end of the day, it's, the youth that's coming and going to be the next generation.
President of the Football Federation of Belize, Marlon Quillen, made a public invitation for people to come out and support.
Honduras, wherever they go, they bring out a lot of fans. And Belize have a lot of Hondurans, and they are coming out in numbers tomorrow. So we are asking our fans that we cannot afford for the Hondurans to have more fans than us at home. So we're asking them to come out and support your team.
Okay, can you tell us where the match will take place, at what time, and what incentives you're providing for the public?
It's at the FFB Stadium in Belmopan at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Are there any incentives for the public to come out?
Yes, we'll have some surprises for them.
At the Radisson Fort George Hotel yesterday, the Inter-American Development Bank, along with the Caribbean Development Bank and the World Bank, hosted an event called a procurement fair. It is an event that drew over 100 local, regional and international contractors, consultants and service providers with the intention to educate them on the opportunities available to them via developmental projects in Belize that they are currently financing. The event lends to the process of transparency as it cements the bank's policy of strict selection processes. During the procurement fair, 14 projects were highlighted in various sectors, including sustainable tourism, climate-resilient infrastructure, education, health, transport, solid waste management, marine conservation, natural resources, biodiversity, and social protection. According to the IDB's country representative, Cassandra Rogers, the executing agencies for some of the projects have reported a low turnout in applications despite advertisements in the local and international media, and it is hoped that through such an event, improvements will be seen. In addition to reaching out to qualified consultants and consultancy groups, the IDB, CDB, and the World Bank are working with the government in addressing public procurement reforms. 46-year-old Gilbert Lovell, who was found with an undetermined amount of crack cocaine in the brim of his cap, was sentenced to 2 months today by Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser after he pled guilty to possession of a controlled drug. Lovell owes the court $255 from 2005, and the sentence in default of payment is 3 months. Senior Magistrate Fraser explained to him that it makes no sense for her to give him a fine because he owes the court and is unable to pay. She told him that what she can do is to make the sentence of 3 months run concurrently with the sentence of 2 months. Lovell will only serve 3 months. Lovell was busted early this morning when police executed a search on him while he was on West Canal Street. 23-year-old Anifa Marin, an unemployed of 193 Police Street, who allegedly stabbed her mother several times with a broken bottle, was denied bail when she appeared today before Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser and pled not guilty to wounding. She was remanded into custody until November 29. Her mother, 46-year-old Heta Marin, reported to the police that about 7 a.m. on October 5th, she was at her front door when she saw her daughter enter the yard. She said she told her daughter not to come in, and her daughter broke a bottle and stabbed her on the left side of her back, her nose, the left side of her chin, and in her chest. The Biltmore Plaza Hotel conducted an emergency response plan training for their employees, and this time they included training to respond to a potential bomb threat. Ted Tejada, General Manager of the Biltmore, tells us that times have changed and they want to be prepared for any eventuality.
What the training is actually is an emergency plan training. We are doing a training of hurricanes, bomb threat, anything that has to do with health. As you know, we're dealing with international tourists here, and we deal as well with a lot of locals coming for conferencing. So we're always preparing our staff for any emergency that we might encounter.
But this time you include bomb threat training, and that's something that's unusual in Belize. Why is it important to start covering these kinds of emergency responses?
As you know, all over the world, there's always emergencies which has to do with people coming in to when there are demonstrations, and we are living on a highway that is close to, as you know, right now the teachers are on strike. You never know. We're always preparing for the future. For our guests, especially that we're dealing with 60% that are North Americans, another 15% that are Canadians, and they're always on the high alert when they hear about demonstration and that sort of stuff. That's why we're always preparing our staff to what to do in case of something like that would ever present itself.
Tejada tells us how the training is teaching the staff to respond to different emergencies.
We hired a consultant to look at the property, to come up with what are the routes that we might take, how do we inform the guests that are in the hotel, how do we sound the alarm for our employees that there is a situation and that we need to evacuate the hotel in a peaceful way until the situation is looked at. That's what we're learning today. How do we actually hand it over to the police, or what are the steps that we as a company need to take if the situation would present itself? I would say I would encourage every company to invest in an emergency plan. As you know, there's a Category 4 hurricane right now hitting the United States. We were just recently hit by Earl, it was an emergency. And when there's an emergency and you don't have a plan, it becomes chaotic. So I would encourage everyone to take their time to invest in a plan, train their employees. How do we need to react in a situation that might present itself?
11 staff members of the Plaza Hotel took the training today, and they are designated to become key responders in case of any incident. The sport of football as a profession is generally undeveloped in Belize. President of the Football Federation of Belize, Marlon Quillen, talks about the evolution of the sport.
The football sport and the level that we play at evolve in Belize, improve over the years?
Well, that's a pretty good question. When you look at the scores that we got in the club tournament over the past month, you would think that we're moving backwards, and to some extent it has become stagnant. But now with what we're trying to do now is take it to another level. It will take time. We have to ask for patience from our people. I know it's hard for them to because these, like for instance, we have the U17 program in place right now, but that's an 8-year plan. Because in 8 years' time, they will be the players that will be representing our country in the A League, like what Salazar is doing right now. But yeah, that's the way to go. It will take some time, but we have to do it.
Quillen tells us about the investments the Federation is making to improve the status of the sport in our country.
It's threefold. One is educating. They are having courses for our coaches and referees and administrators. 2, targeting the youths, creating leagues, tournaments for them, because they are the future. For too long, we've been concentrating on the older guys and not putting enough attention to the youths. So that is a major target for us right now. And 3, we have to continue building and maintaining a program for the 18, because when we go abroad, we want to represent our country well. FIFA now is increasing their funding to all member associations. So we've been meeting to develop a strategic plan whereby we can target the youth, like I was saying earlier. And with this new influx of funding now, we can roll out these programs.
Each year, Belize's environment and natural resources are celebrated via the Tide Fish Festival. With the details of the 2016 celebration, we join Paul Mahon.
Tide's annual Weekend Fish Festival begins later today in Punta Gorda. The event, organized by Toledo Institute for Development and Environment Tide, has grown to be a well-established educational and environmental awareness event which provides opportunity for fishers and other vendors to generate income from the weekend activities. Tide Fish Festival coordinator Stephanie Paul spoke of the packed weekend of activities.
Annual Toledo Institute for Development and Environment Tide Fish Festival in Punta Gorda is here again. We invite everyone to PG on the Pan American Holiday Weekend, which is October 7th, 8th, and 9th. The weekend kicks off on Friday, October 7th with a fundraising cocktail and dance at Maluko's restaurant. We invite you to come and taste the ice cold drinks that we will have and a variety of finger foods such as lobster rolls, conch soup, ceviche, chicken fingers, and hummus dip. You can also dance to the music of talented PG musician Lacelle Martinez. On Saturday, October 8th at 3 p.m., we invite you to come to the Tide Compound to see the Weekend Warriors Cycling Club race to Maphrodite Village and back. This activity is followed at 7 p.m. with the Youth Conservation Competition at the Fothering Parish Hall, where talented youths portray their creativity through presentation on the theme, Our Planet at a Crossroads, Be the Change. The students are Leah David of Independence High School, representing the Southern Environmental Association, Rashawn Figueroa, representing University of Belize Natural Resource Department, and Kiane Blanco of University of Belize Primary Education. Excitement continues on Sunday, October 9th at 6 a.m. with the fishing tournament taking off from the Tide Dock. A full day of activities on the Tide Compound begin at 9 a.m. with a volleyball tournament. At 10 a.m., the Weekend Warriors Cycling Club races again from the Tide Compound to Silver Creek Junction and back. The whole weekend will be exciting, fun-filled, educational, and you can win lots of prizes.
Tide's operations manager, Stephanie Paul. The weekend event additionally provides family fun activities while promoting the importance of community participation in the sustainable use of natural resources. This report is sponsored by Golden Stream Spice Farm, which produces and offers high-quality and locally produced spices, including genuine Malabar black pepper. Contact phone number 670-1338. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahon, Punta Gorda.
A magic show will be held in Belize City tonight and tomorrow. Ingrid Furlow tells us about it.
Do you believe in magic? The Rotary Club of Belize Sunrise is having the Intermagia Magic Show tonight and tomorrow at the Biltmore Plaza Hotel that promises not only to wow you, but also help out in this recession.
So I will try to do something special with this. It's a $5, Belize, it's not too much, but with magic I can do something really impressive. My fingertips, so please don't blink. Only have to fold like this, one more time, and snap my finger. If I snap my finger, look, the bead is changing. It's changing the color, changing the size, and converting $100. So this is very... Yeah.
Mr. Michael, fundraising director for the Rotary Club of Belize Sunrise, gives us the details of the magic shows.
Our Rotary Club is organizing the Intermagia Magic Show. This is the second year that we're doing the show. It starts tonight here at the Best Western Biltmore Plaza Hotel. Our first show is at 7:30. We have two shows tomorrow, one at 2 o'clock, one at 7 o'clock. Tickets are $20 each. And we have 8 magicians from all over. We have from Mexico, from Guatemala, Chile, Costa Rica. We even have as far as Spain, and that particular magician has worked with Chris Angel in Las Vegas as well.
Apart from all this fun, the Sunrise Club is donating all proceeds to a worthy cause.
The Magic Show is one of the many fundraisers that we have planned for this year, and all proceeds that are raised go towards our flagship project at St. John's Vianney Primary School. It's a 5-year project. We've done a bathroom renovation for the lower division of the school already. We plan on repainting the entire school. We plan on trying to extend the school's feeding program and also develop a library and resource center for the school as well.
Mexican magician Roberto Centeno, known as Spider, has a magic card under his sleeve.
One deck the cards, it's a normal deck the cards, okay? 52 cards. Please you help me. Pick one card, pick one. Anyone, pick. Okay. Look at your card and show the camera. Show the camera. Watch the card, everybody. Slow motion. Okie dokie. Okay, very well. Good. Now please just say me stop. Tell me stop anytime. Tell me stop. Stop here. Okay, now. Your card, and put here. And watch. This is the case. Nothing inside, okay? It's a normal case. The cards, and put here inside in the case. Now you help me and take it, the case and press here. Yes? And look at the camera and press. No move. Concentration in your card. Now, slowly, release your fingers, slowly. Whoa! Your card, this is Intermagia, Spider the Magician. You see you later. Bye!
We want to invite all Belizeans, young and old, to come out and be a part of the magic show. We guarantee that you will be amazed and you will be really excited with everything that you see.
Once again, the shows will be held at the Biltmore Plaza Hotel today at 7:30 p.m. and tomorrow at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Tickets are only $20. Reporting for Love News, I am Ingrid Furlow.
Our thought conditioner for today is from Kofi Annan. It reads, and I quote, "To live is to choose, but to choose well, you must know who you are and what you stand for, where you want to go and why you want to go there." This has been the Evening News on Love Television. We invite you to log on to our website at www.lovefm.com for transcripts of our news stories. Thank you for watching. I am Ernesto Vasquez.